Well, hello, mamas. Hello. It's awfully melty here today in Illinois, but welcome to our video. Gonna try moving us around. I realized I had a shadow there, so sorry. But I just wanted to say hello and welcome to part 3 of our series about getting your middle schooler ready. And I want to know, how hot is it where you are? Where in the world are you? Because for me, it's pretty dang hot today. We're easily in the 90s, and that's, not even including how hot it is in my office. But let's talk about this third step, shall we? Let's talk about this idea of independence. Let's talk about this idea of hand holding. Because I gotta tell you, mamas, as your tweens get to middle school, they are not your babies in the same way anymore. They're always going to be your babies, but they are getting older. They're growing up. They're getting more independent, and they need a different kind of help from you. So definitely do know we're here to help you so you can help your tweens as they start middle school. And there's an awesome event that I'm hosting to help you with that. It's called Best Semester Ever. There's a link in the description, but we'll talk about that more at the end. Let's talk about hand-holding versus reminding versus nagging versus independence. Okay? So the very first thing I want to mention here is that, mamas, you and I both know there is a lot of support in elementary school. Okay, there's a lot of different groups. So the teacher has a reading group, the teacher has a math group, and she works with this group at this level, then she works with this group at that level. And, it's very differentiated, it's very separated. Okay, in middle school, that generally doesn't happen. Okay, there might be a class like, this whole group of 30 kids is at this level, or this whole class, is the advanced group. Okay, those things happen in middle school, but there's not generally the time, the ability for the teacher to break into groups and do the same type of one-on-one work like he or she did in elementary. Sometimes it happens, but don't expect it, and we don't want your children to expect it either. Okay, so that's the first thing we want our tweens to know is middle school is different, like we talked about in our first video, than elementary school. But then we need them to know, okay, one of those differences is the fact that you've got to do more work on your own. Okay, I work with a lot of middle schoolers who have no idea how to use work time effectively. All right, they have no idea what it's like to listen to a lesson. They're supposed to have learned whatever they need to from that lesson, taken whatever notes they need to from that lesson, made those connections, and then all of a sudden be told, okay, there's 30 minutes left of class. Here's your assignment. It's due, tomorrow or whatever the next class is. You've got to get it done. I'm here to help. And then the teacher sits down, or the teacher works on lesson plans, whatever the teacher needs to do. And your child is left to work. It's an amazing system when that happens, because there's a lot of students that I work with too, especially the older ones, that class ends right as soon as the teacher is saying, okay, this is the assignment. It's due tomorrow. See you guys later. Okay, and they get no work time. So we want our teens and our tweens, especially our middle schoolers, when they're first learning this, we want them to actually know how to use their work time. Now, this is when that independence versus hand-holding comes in. We do not want you, mama, to get a report from the teacher that your child is never using his time. We don't want you to get a report that, your child needs to constantly be reminded. So we definitely need to start building those independent skills. Now, part of that is going to happen at home. Part of that's going to happen at school. Okay, because if you see your child doing this at home, just like we don't want the teacher nagging, we don't want you nagging. We don't want you to remind your teen, your tween constantly. Part of this independence piece is to let your child make some of these decisions, to let your child suffer some of those natural consequences. Okay, so definitely want to dive into this more. But if you've got thoughts, you've got questions about this idea of work time and helping your teen, your tween be more independent when it comes to, actually getting stuff done, drop them below. Would also love for you to subscribe. Would love you to follow the Ace Cookie Tutoring Facebook business page and the Jessyka Tutoring YouTube channel, because we're live both places right now, provided my phone stays connected. And do you know, this is not the last video in the series. So if you've got more questions, more thoughts about study skills, about helping your child love to learn, or even I was wondering if that was going to happen. It looked like it was about to happen. All right, YouTube. So sorry. I was like, I think it's about to happen. I was like, is it going to make it? It didn't make it. All right. So sorry. I think that's the first time in 600 videos that's happened. So, was saying that would love Dave as a subscriber, would love Dave as a follower, and do know Jessyka Coulter here, CEO and founder of Jessyka Tutoring, generally not having technical malfunctions or even what's the word, physical malfunctions, where things are just, they give up. I think it's time I need a new clip for my phone. But anyway, okay, so let's talk about the second half of this, because I was starting to hint at some things, and then, things happen here. Okay. Whew. So, our children becoming more independent in middle school. That's one of the, hopefully, big things I've said. We want them to know that as they get older, they're going to have to make decisions. So we want them to feel like they can. We want them to feel like they know how to. And we want them to know that every decision has a consequence. Okay. So if our children decide at school to not use those 30 minutes, that work time the teacher gives to get their homework done, that when they come home, they have to do the homework. Okay. Essentially, it goes from classwork to homework because they haven't done it. Okay. Now, if your child doesn't want to do it, refuses to do it, yeah, that sucks a lot and it hurts a lot for you and for me. But I did that backwards. But do know then your child doesn't do it again at home. Okay, you and I both know, well, the grade's not going to be the greatest. And even more importantly, the learning won't be the greatest, because without doing the classwork, without practicing, without studying, your child's never going to learn the material. Okay, so it kind of snowballs. And sometimes, unfortunately, it can take an entire semester, sometimes even longer, for our children to notice that. Sometimes it's just that very first unit test. Sometimes it's that shock factor of your child, failing even a 7th grade math test and going, oh, this is what happens when I make these decisions. So that's part of that hand-holding piece, is if you're constantly catching your child, as one of my speakers said in the past, do you know they never suffer those consequences? They never realize this decision has an effect. This decision has a consequence, good or bad. Okay. Now, I will also tell you that we want our teens to go through this process now in middle school, so that way in high school, when the stakes are a lot higher, they are way more prepared because they've already seen, okay, mom's not going to nag me. Mom's not going to say, have you done? Are you done with? Have you studied for this? Did you do? They know it's up to me. I got to remember to do this stuff, which goes back to those study skills we talked about the other day, the idea of keeping track of assignments, which is time management and organization. And then it also helps your teens start figuring out, okay, what works for me, what doesn't work for me, which is what I do with my Love to Learn Study Skills program, as teaching tweens, okay, this is how I learn, this is my learning style, these are my interests, my preferences, how does it all go together? Your teen needs to go through this process in middle school, okay? So I know it's not always easy to let your children make their own decisions, whether it's something at home, like cleaning out the dishwasher, they're just doing it wrong. My mom was that way. And we had to develop a system, but we also want your children to be more independent. Okay. We obviously want them to still love you. We still want them to be part of the family. That's not going to change, but we also need them to start being ready for high school, for those next steps, for actually being on his or her own when you're not around, when she's not living with you. But middle school, stakes are a lot lower. Okay? It's a lot safer for your children to develop these independent abilities. Okay. So I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, there's an awesome event called Best Semester Ever happening just next week. It is July 31st through August 6, 2023. There's a link down below. 32 experts, including myself, are going to help you help your tween, your teen, your young adult, even your college kiddo get ready for back to school or even new semester, depending on where you are in the world. So whether it's having these tough conversations, these kind of getting those connections happening, those, this is how we're going to do things going on. Okay. And then there's all sorts of content help. All right. All sorts of amazing content help, screen time help, all sorts of goodies. So I hope to see you at the event. And Carolyn, I'm glad. Caroline, I never quite remember how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. But thank you for being here. Thanks for watching. Mama's having a good day. We will see you very soon in our next video.